So when I have different age chicks, this is how I set it up, because if you have one age that is bigger than the other, then they can smash the smaller ones. So, and with this basket, it's tall enough that these babies can't jump out and these guys can't go in. So when they are, these two right here are just about ready to go to the bigger pen, because they could really actually jump up here if they wanted to. And they're the two bigger ones. So they'll be next. When you're hatching constantly, you got to have different brooders for different ages. You can't put all the little ones in with the big ones, or else they'll get hurt. You see how his mouth is open? That's a sign of being too hot. So I've made it where the heat lamp is on one side, and if they get too hot, they can walk over here to this side, and then they're not too hot. Another thing that I do with these babies, when they're really young, I'll put water in the lid. That way they don't drown. Because in a normal water, kind of like this one's actually a safe one. It has a narrower area so that when they fall, or if they fall, their little bodies can't like flat out lay in there. But I don't give them this kind until they're at least a week old, like these guys. These guys are closer to 2 weeks. This little one here and here are about a week old. And then these two little black ones are actually just smaller. They're almost a week old, but then this one was just born yesterday, and they're really about the same size, so I keep them all together, and that's that way. And then, so this is how I do, like, my brooders for, let's just say, aging. Like, as they get older, I move them and separate them. You never want to put big chicks with babies because they'll get hurt. So I have these heat lamps here that are ceramic. And so this is not on, but this is a ceramic bulb. It gets pretty hot. And I usually just use this one to heat the bathroom. If I turn it this way, and sometimes I will at night when it's colder, but usually that's just too much heat. Just having this one here is usually enough. So that you can see that one's hot. I won't touch it. They come in different colors and different voltages. So, and I made just enough room back here so that if they do get cold, they just go back there and get warm. You see how they're doing that? And I just turned this one off because the bathroom got up to like 85 degrees. I do have this set up in my spare bathroom, just to make it easier. And this year I'm hatching out everything that I get, everything possible, and then I'm going to grow them out. See, because I usually sell them But this year I'm going to grow them out to see what they look like. Anyhow, so this, you see how they're just standing in that water? That is just a natural, in the wild, that's what they would do. So it's not a big deal. The thing is, baby chicks are very messy. And chickens in general are very messy anyways. I mean, they just do what they know what's natural for them. So they'll get in that food and they'll scratch it around because they like to dig and hunt for food. So that's what they're doing when they stand in it. They're kicking it around and hunting for food. It's more exciting for them, I think, when they can hunt. So for their bedding, I have the pine shavings. You don't want to use cedar because it's toxic. You want to use pine. And then over time, you get a bunch of this, chicken crumbles because they kick it around. So they can dig in here and find more food if they really want to. This is about an inch deep with food. Eventually what I'll do is I'll clean it out and start fresh, but that way they always have something to eat. But if you take a look at this crumble here, it has little tiny pieces of corn mixed in. You see that? So they're getting a variety of crumbles at a very early age. And I only use the non-medicated because medicated is only needed if they have loose stools or coccidia, because in silkies it can give them a vitamin deficiency and they'll get wry neck and they can struggle their whole life once they are deficient in the vitamins that they need. So another thing that I do is I will put the crumbles in here and just pour a little tiny bit of water onto it so that it crumbles even thinner for them. It makes it just easier for them to eat. There's so much that goes into raising chickens that people don't realize. So I'm going to show you how deep this actually is. Look how deep that is. And the majority of this is chicken crumbles that they wasted. So they could dig around in here and eat crumbles for days. They're so wasteful. So you don't have to keep giving them food. You can let them just eat what's in here. That's what I should do, but I always feel like I need to give them one of these. But this is if you can see here, this is excuse the mess, but this is you can see how deep that bedding is. So another thing that I do for all my babies is I add this vitamins and electrolyte with lactobacillus. It's called Rooster Booster. This jar is only like $13 and it lasts forever. I add this to all of their water. I'll get a gallon jug and I'll just add this to it. That way from the very beginning they have enough electrolytes and probiotics and stuff like that. So when they're this young, usually for the first 24 hours, which that's what we're in here, is 24, they're not as hungry and not as active, and they doze off. Look at this cute baby. They just doze off wherever they are. And so you got to be careful with the waters and stuff because they just kind of fall asleep wherever because they're still kind of waking up. So that's how I set up my little brooder boxes. And I also will train them to drink water by pointing like this. And when they see the older ones doing it, they learn by example. I've yet to see this one drink by herself yet. I'm sure she will soon. But until she does, I'll give her little drops with my finger. And see how they're just going to town. See how they're kicking it around. Next video, I might just show you some live hatchings.